Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's fine. Welcome back to True Crime Files. Now, this one, I did try and find a video to do on this, but I can only find written stuff on this case. So you're going to have to bear with me because I am going to try to read it from word to word as it is printed. I don't even know why I need my headphones on. Right. This man and this woman are obviously married, and they have been accused of starving their vulnerable daughter, aged 32, to death from neglecting her, basically. And they only got 8 years. It's ridiculous. And it's in an area away from me. But I shall try my best and I shall try and read it to you. So please bear with me. Housekeeping rules, please like, follow and subscribe if you can. Right. A couple who left a reclusive adult daughter to starve to death are jailed for 8 years. A mother from hell and her husband who left their reclusive adult daughter to starve to death in appalling squalor were each jailed for 8 years today. Steph Davies' skeletal body was found covered in deep infected bed sores and a terrible state when the paramedics were called to her home. Mole Crown Court heard that her parents, Bernita and Alan Davies, both aged 60, ghosted the 32-year-old who suffered from anxiety and failed to get her any medical help, even though she had been bedbound for up to 12 months. This is appalling. Miss Davis claimed to have spoken to Steffi and changed her bedsheet around 36 hours before she dialed 999 on May the 26th, 2023. But today, a High Court judge said that it was clinical to try it and lie and absolve herself the blame. And reality, Steffi had likely to died several days earlier. Despite having no diagnosed mental or physical health problems, she weighed less than 6 stone when she passed away. Jailing the couple who admitted causing or allowing the death of a vulnerable adult, said Mrs. Justice Mary Stacey, told them that the extent of pain and suffering that Steffi endured in the months before she died was proof they neither loved or cared for her. There is no evidence of her ever being shown love or affection, the judge had said. Let me scroll down. Instead, she was verbally abused by you, and you showed complete indifference to her suffering. As she lay in extreme pain, wasting away and dying, you both carried on with your lives, going to work, feeding yourselves from the well-stocked fridge freezer and larder, while she lay starving and unable to feed herself in the next room to you. You simply ignored her. The court heard neighbours describe Miss Davis as a mother from hell who constantly shouted at Steffi and her 2 siblings when they were young children. One told the police that last time they saw Steffi was back in 2016, 7 years before her death. Miss Davis called her stupid and shouted at her in the street to get their dog back in. Text messages were recovered from Steffi's mobile phone, which included one asking her mother to open her bedroom window. She revealed she had been unable to get out of bed as early as August 2022, 9 months before her death. Other messages to Miss Davis, a former supervisor in the supermarket, requesting vitamins and protein shakes to settle her tummy, went unanswered and were proof of her ghosting her daughter, a court heard. Steffi's younger brother says that by Christmas 2022, she was so weak she was unable to open a box of chocolates he had brought her as a present. Earlier, an upsetting 999 call made to the ambulance service by Miss Davis shortly before 8:30 in the morning on May the 26th, 2023, was played to the court. In it, she tearfully described her daughter as being dead, wet and cold and gone beyond any help. Now, who would say that? I will show you some pictures when I finish reading. So the 999 call was made by Bernita Davies to the ambulance service at 8:02 a.m. on the 26th of May. Operator, no, it's okay. It's okay? Is the patient awake? Benita says, no, she's dead. Operator asks, okay, is she breathing? Benita Davis says, no. Operator says, okay, please tell me exactly what happened. Benita Davis says, she's just, I don't know, she's just cold. She's just cold everywhere. Operator replies, okay. Benita Davis says, like a skeleton. The operator says, okay, how old is she? Benita says, she's 32. The operator says, 32? Benita Davis says, yes. Benita Davis appears to be crying. The operator replied, you say she's cold? Benita says, she's very cold. Yes, very cold. Operator, okay. Is she cold and stiff in a warm environment? Benita says, well, she's in her bedroom and her bedroom's cold. She went downstairs and she's in the downstairs in a separate room. The operator says, okay, but is she cold and stiff in a warm environment? Again, Benita says, well, she's in the house and she's really cold. She's wet and cold. Operator says, okay. Do you think that she is beyond any help? Benita says, she doesn't need any. She's gone. Beyond any help. Her eyes are all black and slightly open, and her mouth is also open. Operator says, okay, do you think she's beyond any help? Benita says, yeah, I think so. Andrew Jones, KC prosecuting, said paramedics who arrived at the couple's home in Wrexham, North Wales, noticed an awful smell when they entered Steffi's ground floor bedroom. They saw lice living in Steffi's long matted hair and flies buzzing around her mouth. Blah. Said he was so shocked when he pulled back the duvet and saw the state of her body. He said it was obvious to him Steffi had been dead for several days, and immediately he called the police. When the ambulance crew arrived, they found Steffi Davis in bed, and she was emaciated and cold to touch. Her body was described as being stiff. It was clear that she had been left in a terrible state to die. Brian Johnson, a pathologist who examined Steffi's malnourished body, found her skin covered in fungal infection, sores, and deep bloody bed sores, some of which were down to the bone. Dr. Johnson was unable to say exactly when Steffi passed away, but he had concluded she had died of sepsis by the caused by the infected pressure sores and combined with her very low body weight. Another expert doctor estimated the ulcers have been left untreated for at least 6 weeks. They were so extreme that Steffi would have been in considerable pain and needed help to drink, eat, and wash, said the medic. In their opinion, earlier stage assistance from the community teams could have prevented the development of such serious ulcers without the need for Steffi to be hospitalised, and could have also have provided an opportunity to assess why she was refusing medical intervention. However, today, Wrexham County Council confirmed that Steffi was not known to social services at the time of her death. A spokesman added, we will be liaising with North Wales Safeguarding Board in order to consider this case meets the threshold for a review. Photographs of Steffi's dirty bedroom, which included a large collection of stuffed teddy bears and toys, were shown to the court, but images of her body were deemed too distressing to be shown to the public. Conditions in the room were described as appalling. Compared to others in the property, The judge told the pair it was hard not to notice the contrast between your well-kept garden and neatly mown lawn and keeping up appearances outside, and the state of Steffi's filthy bedroom and her utter neglect. Miss Davis told the police Steffi refused to go outside or socialise and wanted to be left on her own. She said that when she tried to get her to leave their red brick semi house, including for doctors or hospital appointments, Steffi would refuse and would threaten not to eat. The judge said there was no evidence to back this claim up. Although at times Steffi could be strong-willed, she was submissive and obedient, a daughter who would listen to her parents and would have gone to visit the doctor if the parents had made an appointment for her. You were both well able to visit the doctor and get medical help for your own problems, but you made no effort to get any help for Steffi. When her life became more and more withdrawn and the horizons narrowed, Mrs. Justice Stacey added, she said she did not accept there was evidence of genuine remorse from the couple, adding the pre-sentence report showed victim blaming and self-pity. The judge said Steffi did not have underlying health problems before her death, and it was you, her parents, that were the problem. The couple who are grandparents and have been married for 27 years admitted they had failed Steffi, who was the second born of their three children. They were initially arrested on suspicion of gross negligence, manslaughter, but answered no comment questions when being questioned by officers. Guilty pleas to the lesser charge were accepted by the Crown at the hearing in January. In a statement, Steffi's older sister, who didn't want to be named, agreed her younger siblings struggled with social situations and their childhood wasn't easy. She said she had last seen Steffi at her own wedding back in October 2015, but the pair effectively became strangled as soon afterwards, and when she cut her parents out of her life to protect her own mental well-being. Despite this, she said she had lots of happy memories with Steffi, who loved animals and enjoyed making up dances to ABBA and growing up. She said she had so much potential but needed the right encouragement and support, which she did not get, her sister said. I have many sleepless nights thinking about what my sister went through. If things had been different, I might have been able to help. I want to replay over and over is Steffi always listened to Mum and Dad and did as what she was told. Why did they not take her to the doctor or call someone for help? How could they watch her fade away and do nothing? It is a question I will ask myself for the rest of my life. With the right support and encouragement, Steffi could have done so much with her life. Instead, she was left to fade in the most humane way possible. No sentence will ever be enough for that. Senior Investigator Officer Detective Superintendent Sarah Jane Williams of North Wales Police said it was difficult to comprehend how a once fit, healthy woman had been able to deteriorate to the point of death with no intervention from her mother and father, who were fully aware of her condition. Both Alan and Bernita Davies have acknowledged the level of care they provided for their daughter was woefully inadequate, which led to her tragic, unavoidable death, said the officer. Maria Marcella's defending Miss Davies said the client had felt overwhelmed by having to care for Steffi, and she would have to live with the fact she has failed her for the rest of her life. Simon Rogers defended Mr. Davies, a factory worker who held his head in his hands as details of his daughter's injuries were outlined, admitted being a bad father, and he was generally remorseful. He had previously suffered from bladder cancer and was currently waiting test results for a lump in his neck, the court heard. So I will just show you, I think I had some pictures here. So they got 8 years, and that is crazy. Let me come back into my studio, remove these, and then I'll add this page and quickly go through the facts. Which one was it on? A minute, bear with that one. Right, come back. Where did I say? Which one did I say? This one. Right, so I'll just sort of like slowly scroll through the pictures. I'll go back to the top. Whoops. Yeah, so as I said, Mrs. Davies had called 999 on May the 26th. That's the two parents, both age 60. And yeah. And heartless couple left a reclusive adult daughter to starve and die in appalling squalor. And then that was arriving at the Mould Crown Court on Wednesday. Post-mortem found their daughter Steffi had died of sepsis caused by infected bed sores. That was the Mould Crown Court they went to. So I don't think I did too bad in reading this all out for you. So that was all of it. So yeah, so if I can find a proper photo, let me come off those adverts a minute. That one, let's go back. I don't know why they don't show just like a facial shot of a picture of Steffi, because I know normally I'm against photos being shown online, but I think once they've passed away, then it may be a little bit different. But maybe the photos were just too gross for photos to be put online. But because the parents caused her death, so they've in fact emmed her or red rummed her, I can't see how they only got 8 years. That is crazy sentence, 8 years. And they'll probably get out in, good behaviour and time served. They'll probably be out in 2 or 3 years to live the rest of their life if they do not pass away themselves. But I thought I had to bring this case because it seemed really, really not very nice. And that's, so like I said, if I can find a video of this, I will bring it back as a part 2. So thank you all for watching and listening to me painfully read out. With dyslexia, I think I did a pretty good job today. That's because most of the words were in my head that I know how to pronounce. Not like when I cover some out-of-state ones, out-of-country ones, and they have some really weird names for me to try and pronounce. But yeah, I was scrolling along, saw this one, and I thought I've got to do something. Even though it meant a lot reading, I think I passed the job. Let me know in the comments anyway. Till the next one, see you.